Hello and welcome to another Out of Spec Bits episode. Today we are turning our Lucid Gravity into a giant mobile power bank. Not just a power bank, but a super high power one to actually charge another car. Now, Lucids have always had this really cool vehicle-to-vehicle charging solution, but it's a little bit different in the Gravity because this uses a native NACS port. And in this video, I'll be trying the Gravity's V2V charging function for the first time. I'll also tell you a little bit about how I plan to use this and how I think it's something that all electric cars should at least offer. In this video, I'll be charging my 2019 Tesla Model 3 right over there. So join me as we charge this battery into that battery. Should be kind of an interesting experiment. So viewers, this is our 2027 Lucid Gravity Grand Touring. You can see we have it set in the medium suspension height. It looks way better when we slam it down and when we get it on different wheels. I can't wait to get it on the big wheels. It's going to look awesome. I just drove this thing across the country, all the way from basically the San Francisco area down to LA and now all the way out here to North Carolina. What an awesome trip it was. We're sitting at just about 4,500 miles on the odometer on this thing. Really getting to know it, really getting to enjoy it. And Lucid has fixed so many of their bugs over time. But this is not a review of the Gravity. I want to talk about one specific function. You can see the bugs on here from the big cross-country trip. This vehicle has a really cool power conversion system, sort of a, some cars call it a PCS, some cars call it whatever. I think here they call it a Wonder Box, but it's essentially a whole system of electronics that handle the AC and DC charging, and also some of the low voltage power management in electric cars. Here in the Gravity, this actually has an 80 amp onboard charger. I can show you that. We'll plug into those chargers right over there. Actually, we'll probably even start with that because I've never charged a Gravity at 80 amps or 19.2 kilowatts. So I can't wait to experience that on our Autel level 2 chargers right there. Then we'll actually pull the Gravity back over here and use it to charge my Tesla Model 3. You can see this uses a native NACS port for AC and DC, and the Gravity has an optional cable to enable vehicle-to-vehicle charging. Let me show you kind of what that looks like here. You can see just an enormous amount of space in this car. It's absolutely awesome. Huge shout out to Lucid for loaning us this Gravity for an extended time frame so we can really get to know it and use it and enjoy it. So you have your typical, NEMA 1450, NEMA 515 outlets that come with a included EVSE. I say EVSE in a lot of my videos. Some of you guys ask me why. It's because this is not actually a charger. This is electric vehicle supply equipment. This is essentially taking the AC power from the grid and just transitioning it into the car. It funnels it into the vehicle. The actual charger is done on board. So all of those units right over there, ignore the Yarbo lawnmower, more content coming on that. But all of these are actually EVSEs. Those are not chargers. That is a charger. That's a DC charger. It means the AC to DC conversion is done off board, and then it will directly charge the battery with direct current rather than alternating current. So here we have the mobile EVSE that comes with the Gravity, a super compact unit, a really nice one. Even has this little car with an arrow right there. And let's take a look if we can see anything interesting. So at 120 volts, it's rated for 12 amps. And at 240 volts, it goes up to 40 amps, which is awesome. Pretty big temperature reading. That's a really nice one. So this is a really nice compact EVSE with a really nice cable on it and a really nice NACS, and still with the plastic wrapping on there. This is just how you do it. This is a nice, compact, high-quality cabling solution. And rather than plugging in on this end, again, the NEMA 1450 or 515, you can plug this in. And this is essentially making it a NACS to NACS cable, which is pretty cool. I keep saying NACS, by the way, because it's technically J3400 or the Tesla charging port for some of you guys, but the industry has moved on to this port as the port of the future. And here you can see 40 amps, 240 volt, single phase connection. And that's exactly what will go into the EVSE. It turns this into an EVSE, into sort of a transfer device to then tell this car that it's plugged into a power source. So there's a couple different ways cars can do this. You'll see F-150 Lightnings or Silverado EVs with like a 30 amp plug on the side. Occasionally you'll see Cybertrucks with a 50 amp NEMA 1450, this plug right here. And of course you could plug this into the power outlet and then plug in any of your devices. That works really well. But I think at a basic level, if you're not planning to include a super high power outlet, like a lot of cars only include NEMA 515s like the Gravity does here, there's a bunch of them around the cabin. This is a really cool solution to not add any extra ports on the vehicle and use the existing hardware in the car to actually act as a mobile power bank. So let's go plug this in, see if it'll 80 amp charge. I'm really looking forward to seeing high power AC charging here with the Gravity. Then we'll pull it over and plug in my Model 3. We are pulling over to the chargers here and see a bunch of Crown Vics getting ready for some exciting stuff. I'm going to click auto park. Oh, let me buckle up my seatbelt. I've not tried auto park in the Gravity and I don't know how that actually works. So it says searching for parking spaces. Hold on, maybe I've got to line it up with these right here. So that's quite the bird's eye view. That's not the typical bird's eye view. It's very much sort of distorted there. So drive forward slowly, searching for parking spaces. Okay. Have you not found any parking spaces? Is it going to view this as a parking space, maybe? It says searching for parking spaces. Hello? Okay, so auto park unavailable. Engage drive to resume search. I mean, I just went past like 40 freaking parking spaces. There's plenty of them here. And it'll only search in forward. So I would say that was kind of a fail. Maybe in a mall parking lot where they're more traditional parking spaces it would work, but clearly these are standardized, well-marked charging spaces. So, okay, we'll focus on that in maybe a future video where we dive into the auto parking function. But let's back it in right here. I'm gonna grab my level 2 charging adapter, which I have in the door pocket right here. This, you want to make sure, because we are pulling 80 amps, that this is 80 amp rated. And indeed it is. 240 volts AC, 80 amp maximum. That is important because a lot of these J1772 to NACS AC adapters are not rated for, some are only 40 amps, some are 60, and 80 amps is kind of what they should be, of course, because this is the maximum the standard goes to. So let's plug that in there. All of these are dedicated 80 amp chargers, and they're all on their own 100 amp EVSE actually. Excuse me, 100 amp circuit to feed each EVSE, so there's not even any power sharing, which is pretty cool. I'm glad we did the electrical upgrades to make that work. We are charging 5 kilowatts. Let's see, refresh, baby, come on. 19.3, we're getting the full 80 amps out of this thing. That's awesome. And that means that this 123 kilowatt hour battery will only take, I don't know, 5-6 hours, about 6 hours to go from 0 to 100 on AC, which is awesome for super heavy mileage or even rideshare use case. Here at the office, it means that you'll go from 35% to 80% in 3.5 hours. That's with the climate control running as well. So it's perfect if you pop in here. Like, I live pretty far away from home. It's like an 1.5 hour drive or so. I can top the car up real quick, get back to my day, and I can avoid DC charging throughout the whole day just with this. So we're really pushing the onboard power conversion systems in the Lucid Gravity today, but I'm super happy to see the 80 amp onboard charger. Let's go see how the vehicle to vehicle charging works. So I pulled the Gravity back around. My Model 3 is currently sitting at 38%. You can see right there. I'm trying to take care of my batteries, and that's roughly a very healthy point to leave them for storage. However, I am going to be using this car a little bit more now that FSD 14 V14 Lite is out. It makes this kind of more useful, at least with the hopeful future improvements that will come to that. So what I'm going to do is connect our NACS adapter, our NACS connection, into our EVSE. So do I need to push harder? There we go. Full connection. So we've got NACS to NACS. I don't know what side goes into what. I assume this side goes into the Gravity. and then this side goes into the Tesla. So before we do this, this is a feature when we've had the Lucid Airs in the past that I used pretty consistently. If you guys remember, we would do electric car range tests before we got our DC charging trailer. We'd run cars to dead. I could pull the Lucid up, plug it in and charge. Now, that's not to say it went perfect every time. Lucid has gone through their fair share of software bugs and issues, and there were some related to the RangeXchange feature, which is the official name of this technology. Hopefully it works well with the Gravity. We're going to find out, but just to let you know how I'm going to use this all the time. Well, first of all, it's a great way to drain the battery of the Gravity ahead of charge testing and whatever, but also for our range test. I may no longer need to always pull the big Charge Rigs DC trailer out. I could plug the Gravity into another car, and it's just a little bit less hassle than having to hook up a trailer. It's slower charging, of course, but sometimes you just need a couple kilowatt hours to get to the fast charger. So let's hook this up and see how it goes, and we'll charge the Model 3 up. So I don't remember exactly how this works, but I'm going to plug this in here. We're going to see if we have any... Ooh, it's gone blue and blinking. So let's see. Oh, it says RangeXchange ready on the dash. Oh, cool. Look at that. Adjust your desired battery reserve. Oh, interesting. So we can say we want to have a reserve of 10%, which is perfect because I'm actually going to do a run to zero on this Gravity and drain it out and see how the buffer is doing. So we'll open up again the charging port on the 3. Let's plug it in and see how quickly and how well they communicate with each other. We're in. Okay. The car has gone blank. It sees nothing. However, this is blue. Oh, I think I need to hit start sharing. Boom. That's what I was messing up. Preparing to share. Nothing on the Tesla side yet. Nothing there yet. Oh, the Tesla just lit up blue. Oh, I just heard contactors click. Let's see. We are charging 40 amps, 240 volts. Let's take a look if there's much sag under charging load. That's always a really important topic here. So we're loading up. 17 amps, holding strong voltage, 239 volts. Bringing on each of the sections of the Tesla power modules probably. They're 16 amps a piece for the onboard charger. There, it's spinning all the way up, and now we're doing 40 amps. That's everything that can do. 237 volts. It's barely sagged at all. That is impressive inverter technology here in the Gravity. Wow. So we are actually discharging now. You can see the Tesla's blinking green. This is really just pulsing a light white, but it's very hard to see on camera. And on the screens here, it shows RangeXchange sharing and 0.1 kilowatt hours dispensed, 9 kilowatts load. Wow, how cool is that? If your buddy runs out of charge, if you just need to drain your car, if you want to get free charging on your Gravity, although Lucid doesn't do free charging anymore, but back in the day, you used to be able to go to Electrify America, get free charging on your Lucid, and then share it around to your buddies. Not that that's a practical way to actually live your life, but kind of a funny one to think about. Holy smokes, that worked wonderfully. So you got to plug in, hit start, then it will charge the other car. That is awesome. Well, I guess I'll let it go for a bit just to make sure that it can handle the load for a long period of time. So there's really no other cars on the market that I can think of that implement a vehicle-to-vehicle charging solution like Lucid does here. It's such a nice thing to have in your back pocket. You know, it's like a roadside spare tire kit. You come across someone who's almost made it to the charger, who's dead on the side of the highway. You go to the mountains and your buddy brought his Nissan Leaf and can't charge up. I mean, countless examples of having exportable power just being awesome. On one hand, this is really cool because of course you can charge a bunch of electric cars, but on the other hand, there's no high power universal outlet. Like there's no way that you can use the battery pack in the Gravity other than with the wall outlets to actually export power. I think the implementation of the like Tesla Cybertruck where you have the NEMA 1450 outlet built in, or F-150 Lightnings that have the 30 amp plugs, or Silverados, that's kind of nice because you can still charge a car at 40 amps like we're doing right now with Cybertruck. And anything else you want out of that port. Here, you're kind of just locked to using the Gravity as its own mobile car charger, if you will. For my use case, that's incredibly useful. For most people, probably not, but I still think it's one of those things you just keep it in your back pocket. It's really nice to have in a pinch. A couple things I want to mention about inverter voltage sag. What's kind of interesting is the F-150 Lightning, you can almost max out the whole current capability and the voltage will hold steady around 240 volts. When you start loading up the Cybertruck, you start at 240 volts, then you'll get down to 220, 218. So even though you can only pull 30 to 32 amps out of the F-150 and you can do 40 out of the Cybertruck, you actually get very similar power kilowatts out of the vehicle because the Cybertruck voltage sags and the F-150 Lightning holds steady. Again, it's volts times amps equals power. And on those vehicles, voltage sag really makes a difference. Here with the Gravity, you can output full 40 amps and get almost no voltage sag. That's a double win. So in terms of AC charging your buddies on the side of the road, this is clearly the winner and shows, okay, Lucid's insane electronics knowledge. Well, you wouldn't expect voltage sag with a car that's this technically advanced or well engineered from a powertrain and power conversion systems standpoint. So there you guys have it, a really cool thing. I just wanted to try it out. I figured I'd bring you guys along the way, trying out the 80 amp onboard charger as well as the RangeXchange. I'm going to let my Model 3 keep topping up here for a little bit because I'll be driving it. I want to stress test RangeXchange before we start picking up cars off the side of the road. If there's any issues, I'll of course let you know, but I'm not expecting any. And that's it for now. Charging my Tesla with our Gravity. Easy as that. You got to get that adapter if you have a Lucid. With the Lucid Airs, it works with J1772, and on the Gravities, it works with NACS. Hopefully they can homogenize that car and give Air a NACS port as well at some point in the near future. Thanks so much for watching. See you on another one again soon. Bye-bye. Well, it just so happened that the RangeXchange completed right at the same time that this hit 10% and this hit 80%. And I don't actually know what happened first. I'm pretty sure this completed at 80% before this shut off. But pretty sweet. So there we are, RangeXchange complete. We shared 27 kilowatt hours out of it. And I've just started preconditioning the Model 3 to run some errands. So that worked out great.